Bowl Merit Award. Oh, got it. Good. Armed Forces Merit Award coordinator. And we're welcome here today to announce the recipient of the 10th annual award. And to do that, we'd like to introduce Brant Ringler. Brant is the executive director of the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl based in Fort Worth. Brant.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you everybody for being on the call today. First and foremost, with this being Veterans Week, I want to thank all our veterans, past and present, out there that for their service to our country. It's truly appreciated. Damian, we want to thank you too for your service as a Navy SEAL and everything you've done to support our country and bring us the freedoms that we enjoy today. And this is one of my favorite awards. You know, we're in the 10th year of it, and it keeps growing every year. But for someone to serve our country, to come back and be a part of the college football and the sport that we love, and to give back to that sport and be a leader in that locker room to other players, and to let them understand what is so important about our military and how they serve our country. It's truly a blessing to have people like yourself involved in college sports. So we are very pleased with all your efforts this year on the field and off the field, with all the spectacular stuff you do in the community as well. You're truly a person that we respect and are honored to give the 10th annual Armed Forces Merit Award presented by Football Writers Association of America and the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl to you, Damian Jackson. Thank you very much. And we look forward to meeting you in person as well.
And now Heather Ditch, who's the president of the Football Writers and an ESPN reporter. Heather.
Damian, on behalf of the Football Writers Association of America, I want to congratulate you. I want to thank you and echo Brant's comments just about what an amazing job that you've done and the service to our country. And I know people say that, and I don't want it to sound trite because you've sacrificed so much, and your story is phenomenal. And as a writer, a college football writer, everyone knows that so often the headlines are the negative stories. And your story is one that needs to be told 1,000 times over for your perseverance, your leadership. And these are the stories, believe it or not, that we love to write and highlight. So thank you for giving us something positive to spotlight. And I mean, twice you tried to walk on, and here you are. So congratulations for everything you've done on and off the field. And I'll add one more thing. As a mom of 3 little boys, thank you for being a role model, because I told them about your story too. And I'm sure that there are more people who are going to see something on College Game Day, small tease there, about you, and will inspire them to do the same with their kids. So thank you on behalf of the FWAA and my family.
Thank you, Heather. Damian, before we open it up to the floor and handled by the Nebraska Sports Information Office, first of all, I want to thank Keith, Jameis, and Matt in the Sports Information Office for what they did, because they're the ones that nominated you and followed through for 4 years that you've been considered for this award. So I want to thank them. Damian, I just want to ask a few questions. Noticed in some previous articles that a former Nebraska football player, Gary Toogood, who lives out in Reno, kind of got you interested in Nebraska. And then there was a Stanford football player, I don't have his name, that talked to you about it. What did they do to inspire you to get involved, coming from a Navy SEAL into college football?
So before I was getting out of the Navy, I was telling them that I wanted to go to play a college sport, and football was the sport that I decided. And Garrett Moore was the one that the quarterback for Stanford, and he helped me research and do a lot of research for the schools. And Gary Toogood was he works with my mom. He was a dentist, and he used to play there in the 60s at Nebraska. And he's the one that told me that they had a really good walk-on program. So he's the one that kind of introduced me to Nebraska. I didn't really know anything about it at all, but when it was time for me to get out of the Navy, Nebraska was my first choice to go to try and walk on. So it's thanks to him that I'm here, and there's no other reason for choosing Nebraska. It was it was him telling me, how great this program was and how they treat their walk-ons that really attracted me to Nebraska.
Tell me, in 2010, did you ever think you'd be playing college football? I think you were a
Absolutely.
soccer, baseball player. So what was the journey like for 11 years or 7 years before you got to Lincoln?
So I went into the military in 2010, and before that, I did play soccer and baseball my whole life. And so for the next 6 years in the military, I didn't think anything of college really. I knew I wanted to get out and go back to school, but I didn't think about sports, and it just kind of hit me once I was about 2 years out of getting out of the military that I really wanted to play a sport and go to college. So that's when I really started trying to do the research for what I wanted to play, where I wanted to go, and how I wanted to do it.
Tell me, at Nebraska, obviously Coach Mike Riley kind of helped you get involved, but who else at Nebraska has done a good job in developing you and to the point where you are?
Yeah, so first, Mike Riley was amazing. He's one of the nicest guys I know. He's the one that helped me get on the team. And Kenny Wellhite was also another big factor in why I got on the team and how I stayed on the team. So those two are the biggest reasons why I'm still here. And then just every single coach that came in contact with at Nebraska has built me up. When I came here, I didn't know anything about football at all. I didn't understand plays, didn't understand anything that was going on, and they stuck with me and they had patience with me and they built me up. So any of my D-line coaches, my outside linebacker coaches, they really stuck through it, through thick and thin, and built me from the ground up.
Damian, obviously I hear you're going to graduate in December. What are your plans after graduation? You still got 1 year left, 1 year of eligibility left.
Yeah, so COVID gave me an extra year, so I'll play for the 6th year here. And then after that, I'm going to try to take football as far as it goes. And then once that is up, I have a lot of options that I'm still going to decide on what to do. Either use my major for a job or get back into the military. It's all up in the air right now. I'll figure it out slowly as the time comes.
Keith, we'll turn it over to the Nebraska folks to handle the questioning from there.
Okay, thank you. And I just ask the media if you have a question, if you want to just put it in the chat for me, and then I'll call on everybody individually. So media, if you're on and you'd like to ask a question, just let me know in the chat. And we'll go ahead and start with our first question with Nicole Griffith.
Hi, Damian. Congratulations. I guess my first question is, you were a finalist for this award in 2019 and 2020. What was going through your mind when you officially won it this year?
I'm just honored and humbled to be able to receive an award that's affiliated with the military. So it's great to finally be able to see my name up there and receive it. And I think the selection committee and everybody involved in this, it's amazing. Thank you.
And did the guys at practice, did they know about it? Have they found out? I know it was embargoed, but.
No, I don't think anybody knows yet.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, our next question was from someone who couldn't make the chat, but they just had a question I'll read for you, Damian. They just wanted to know, kind of, obviously two completely different worlds, but they're curious how your work in the military and with the Navy SEALs helped prepare you, not just for playing college football, but for being able to emerge as a leader on this team.
I think just being in the military and being part of the SEAL program just really instills in you like how to be a good teammate, like a really good teammate. And I think a lot of the kids that come into a program like this early on don't really truly understand it. So I kind of had the upper edge on them and try to show them like what it truly means to be a teammate. So that's kind of like where my leadership comes into play, not so much on the field, like during game days and stuff, like, but just off the field, just everyday life is what I really try to help out everybody around here and just, just try to make, I just think it's all about teamwork and, being the best you can be and how you can help the team.
And had a follow-up to that one. It was just, they were kind of wondering if your teammates ever gave you kind of a hard time for just being an older person, or if they have any nicknames for you. They wanted to know that.
Well, everybody right now just calls me DJX, but a lot of people do call me old man, but it doesn't really affect. It's kind of went away, but I think throughout the years, just kind of integrated myself as just being a football player with them, and they just treat me with respect. So not really too much going around, but I call myself old man. blame a lot of the stuff and injuries on being old. So, but there's no real negative effect of it.
Okay, and I've got one more virtual one. As Damian knows, we just kind of got done with practice, so a couple people just gave me questions to ask. So sorry, Damian, that you got to get questions from me on behalf of others. But can you just talk about what your journey was like in terms of, it's kind of well documented how you really had to fight just to kind of get on the team, and now you're contributing, you're playing a lot. Can you just talk about kind of that whole journey and how that's been for you?
It's been great. The beginning part of the journey was probably the hardest because getting on a team when you haven't played football before and not knowing anybody, having no connections, not having somebody to help you out is really tough to try to just get your foot in the door and just let somebody know that you're willing to do anything to play for them. So that was probably the hardest part. But then once I actually got on the team, it's been kind of getting easier and easier as time goes on. So, and it's getting a lot more fun. You know, I understand it. The game slowed down a lot. I just really understand the game of football now, and I just enjoy it. It's really what I love doing now.
Okay, I think that's all the questions. Media, if you have any questions, please speak up here. It looks like we got a couple.
This Tim again, I just want to tell everybody we had 31 nominations this year, 28 individuals, 3 programs, and Damian is the first Big Ten player to be selected and the third from a Power 5. And it seems, Damian, I asked this question, do you think it's easier to transition from the military to be a defensive player? Because 5 of our award winners have been on defense, only 1 offensive. So do you think being in the military helps you be a better defensive player?
I don't know about that, but I just know because I never played football before. And I think the coaches knew, and I knew that defense was going to be easier for me to learn, to be honest. So I don't know if military has any correlation with being a better offensive or defensive player. I just know that it was just a little bit easier for me to understand to be on defense. So that's kind of how I got selected to start out as D lineman and then move to outside backer.
Damian, have you ever interacted with any other military types that have come out of the service that played college football? You mentioned the Stanford person, what was it, Garrett Moore, but have you ever interacted with some other players?
No, I've never met anybody else that's been in the military and also playing.
And then I saw in one story, you were thinking about being a long snapper. Our first recipient was a long snapper at Texas. Are you continuing being a long snapper or trying out?
We just had practice today and I was out there snapping, so still doing it.
Okay. That's all for me.
Damian, Steve Richardson from Football Writers. What was the most difficult thing that you had to learn in football? I mean, of all the things, I know you had to learn a lot, but what was the most difficult transition part of it?
For me, it was just right when I got there, going in. Bob Diaco was there at the time, and I started out as an inside linebacker. And the most difficult part was just understanding what he was talking about in any sense. I went into the linebacker room and he started talking about plays and what we need to do and how you're going to fill this gap or something like that. And it was like Japanese and I didn't understand anything. That was the hardest part, was just the first couple of months, just understanding what these football terms, because I didn't even really watch it on TV or anything. So I really knew nothing. So the first months were the hardest for me, for sure.
And as a follow-up to that, what was the most interesting question maybe any of the players asked of you about what your previous experience was? They had to be curious about a SEAL coming out here and playing football and what you've been through as far as, in the real life of a battle type thing. So, I mean, what did they ask you? They ask you?
Actually, there wasn't too many questions. A lot of guys were very respectful, and I tried not to bring too much of my military self into the football. I wanted to be known as a football player. And some guys would ask questions here or there, nothing crazy, but for the most part, even to this day, people are pretty respectful and just, they don't even really talk about it too much, I don't know if that answers your question very well. Sorry.
That's fine.
Hey, Damian, have you guys ever discussed having the team go out to a Navy SEAL training? I know some universities have done that in the past, just to kind of give them some insight to what it takes to be a Navy SEAL and the leadership side of it as well. That would go over probably pretty strongly in the locker room.
We've had a company called The Program come here a couple of years ago before COVID started. I think they were here 2 years in a row, and we did something not like SEAL training, but there was like military type-esque training with like filling up boats and just doing things as a team, like going in the water and stuff like that. So we have had that type of training, and it was fun. It was good for the team to understand something like that, but we've never discussed like doing the actual. I have seen in Coronado like other like basketball, football teams go there and try out the SEAL training, but we haven't discussed it, but we have done some type of training like that.
Damian, I have to ask you, given that you said you knew nothing about football and you were told you didn't make the team the first walk-on time, why did you want to do this so badly? Why did you keep coming back?
Because it would have been, in my mind, it would have been extremely hard to go like pack my plan was to pack my bags and go to another school and just walk on and just keep trying different schools out. But if you think about it, it'd be extremely hard to actually do that, to pack your bags and enroll into another school and then try out there. And if that doesn't work, then just keep moving down the line. It'd be extremely hard. So in my mind, I needed to exhaust every option that I had. And it didn't matter what it was, just try until it's an absolute no, and then move on to the next step. So whatever the next step that I had to do, I was going to take. Didn't matter what it was. So that's what I was thinking.
And then we have another question from Nicole Griffith.
Hey, Damian, I'm just kind of going off of Steve's question. Do any of the players or coaches talk to you about like going into the military then, instead of like what your experience was like, if they want to pursue it themselves maybe after football is done?
I've probably had maybe 2 or 3 guys in the 4 to 5 years that I've been here ask me about actually truly joining the military and what it's like. So not too many, but there has been those questions.
Okay, it looks like we're done. Damian, thank you very much. The plan is, depending on how everything works out, to make an award presentation, hopefully in Omaha on the 12th at the Outland thing. But again, that's to figure out schedules and so forth. So again, thank you very much, Damian, especially with tomorrow being Veterans Day. Got any feelings going into the Veterans Day as the Armed Forces Merit Award winner?
No, I just want to thank everybody for their service, past and present. I appreciate everybody else that's been in the military. It's not just me. You know, there's a lot of people out there that deserve a lot more than what I deserve. So I just again, I want to thank you guys and everybody out there.
Okay, well, thank you. Keith, thank you again to your staff. And again, Damian, you need to buy Keith lunch. He's the one that got this going. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.